Hello and welcome to episode number 66 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is the third episode of SmackDown in the Mae Young Classic and the October India Tour, and we continue the build towards the Super Showdown and the Evolution pay-per-views at the end of the month. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the show.
Close your eyes, surrender your beliefs to them for holding. Wait patiently to hear whatever changing lines are showing. The wiggle all they wanted was violence, to put the chains and divide us. It's all the worst that's inside us. We'll pray on the violence, the violence.
We open SmackDown with the GM Adam Pearce in the ring with like a tumbler, like the Royal Rumble style tumbler, with 4 balls in it, and AJ, Nakamura, Bryan and Ali. Because we're going to do the SmackDown draw for the SmackDown side of the World Cup. So like he puts his hand in, then he pulls the first ball out. And he pulls out and he reads out the name AJ Styles. And then AJ sort of, he sits there, he steps forward and he waits to see what the next name pulled out is. It's Daniel Bryan. And the crowd goes, yes, yes, yes. Bryan leads, of course, the yes chants. And AJ sort of just looks at him, he starts shaking his head. He goes, God damn it, Daniel. I'm going to beat you in the first round of the WWE World Cup. And then we have to obviously pull out all the balls to make it look like it's not rigged. Well, it would be, because I'd want it to specifically be booked this way. So I guess I had to like put little indents on the balls so that Pearce knows what order to pull them out in. But we have to make it look like it isn't rigged. So you pull out Ali and Nakamura's balls to show that they were in there and it was all fair and it wasn't rigged. Like a Champions League draw or an FA Cup draw, like they always have to pull all the balls out. So the first round of the WWE World Cup for the SmackDown side will see AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Mustafa Ali. Then the 4 men sort of get into a brawl, and then it ends with Daniel Bryan laying out his first round opponent, AJ Styles, with the running knee. I definitely just clicked that game, don't you dare try and tell me I didn't. In a 45 rated match, we advance the 2 women's storylines on this show, as the team of Paige, Ember Moon and Nikki Cross defeat Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax and Alexa, when Nikki Cross pinned Nia Jax with the Purge neckbreaker. Nikki Cross gets a 33, 38 for Ember Moon, Nia Jax gets a 20, 51 for Paige, 34 for Alexa and a 41 for Shayna Baszler. So these are 2 separate matches for Evolution. It'll be Paige versus Shayna and Ember and Nikki versus Nia and Alexa. So we're just building them up here. These matches specifically to chug along because we need to get to other things on the show. Bianca Belair though cuts a quick promo backstage about why she's the EST of SmackDown, and that whatever she does at Evolution, she's probably going to be she'll be breaking the news of the Tag Team Championship Battle Royal, which will happen at Evolution. Basically, all the women that aren't on the show are going to be in a Battle Royal, and the winner of that Battle Royal will get a Tag Team title shot with a partner of their choice against the champions at Survivor Series. And Bianca's in there saying, it doesn't matter who my partner's going to be, because when I win that Battle Royal, girl, we'll have the greatest women's Tag Team champions of all time. And you can bank on... Well, she probably wouldn't say bank on that because that's Sasha's thing, but... something sassy where she clapped. 50 rated match. Jacob Fatu and Chad Gable will have a match. And it's not really a squash. Gable gets a couple of bits of offense in like a good underdog, but in the end he does fall to Jacob Fatu in 7:41 with a Samoan drop. 48 for Gable and a 44 for Fatu. Continuing his slow build here on SmackDown. We then cut backstage to Adam Pearce's GM office, where he's joined by the Women's Tag Team Champions, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. And they're like, last week, or on Monday, we came to Raw and we made a statement that we were waiting for either you or Eve to pick our opponents for Evolution, since we have to be on that show and defend these titles. And we're just now checking up, Adam, if you've got any advancements, any updates on that situation. And Pierce is like, indeed, Koa, don't stress. We do have somebody. We have a breakthrough for you, and you'll get to show up tomorrow night Raw on Monday, and hopefully it'll be finalised by then. So if you show up to Raw on Monday, because of course you can float as the champions, we'll introduce your challenges for Evolution to you on that night. Whoever they may be, who knows, other than Adam Pearce, Eve, and the two women in question. A 34 rated match. Ali has a match with Shelton Benjamin because the VIP Nation are not happy that Ali beat Bobby Lashley last week by shenanigans, and Bobby Lashley helps Shelton Benjamin defeat Mustafa Ali in 13 minutes and 5 seconds of a pay dirt. Shelton gets a 37 and a 35 for Big Mustafa Ali. Here's a fun segment. Sami Zayn is backstage chatting with the Usos, just like, hey, how are you getting on? You've defended your tag titles, you're going to go to Survivor Series and face either New Day or Aussie Might. So how are you holding up? And of course I'm going to try and get on Team SmackDown. And that's when Cynthia Crepo walks in. We haven't seen her on TV since SummerSlam. And she's like, Jimmy J, you can ignore Sammy's question because you won't be going to the Survivor Series to face New Day. Because if you remember correctly, you never beat the champions to win those titles. You merely managed to escape and face Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode instead of the actual champions who were death from above because Lince Dorado had broken his metatarsal and he wasn't here. And then Lince walks behind her with Metalik. She's like, and he's ready to wrestle now. So next week, if you think you're the real SmackDown Tag Team Champions, you can put them to the test and you can defend the titles against the real champions, death from above. And then they're like, yeah, Oos, we're not going to back down from any fight. Tell your little masked friends to meet us in the ring next week and we'll settle this score. So there we go, Lince Dorado back from his little injury, and he's looking to get his and Metalik's titles back next week against the Usos. 41 for a random match. Path of the Dragon and Luchasaurus defeat Mansoor and two Regens. In 7 minutes and 10 seconds, Luchasaurus pins Drake Chambers with the betrayal. Apparently Mansoor is head and shoulders above everybody else, I guess because the game has given him India pop. Because it's basically like Saudi Arabia. 36 for Tozawa, 33 for Humberto, and for Luchasaurus. 57 for Mansoor, 14 for Drake Chambers, and 10 for Nathan Kelly. Just a nice win for Path of the Dragon there. Bayley then cuts a promo. She says that Sasha's always had this problem in believing her own hype too much. Because she was ranting about last week how the old Bayley would be the old Sasha, but now it'll all be different. But no, that's not true. It was never the old Bayley that Sasha could never beat. It was just Bayley. There's no fairy tale ending here where the new Sasha Banks comes out of nowhere and she can slay the new Bayley and prove to the world and to all her little boss apprentices that she can beat Bayley, because that's just not true. The result will always be the same. Bayley will defeat Sasha Banks, and Sasha will choke yet again, this time at Evolution. This will be the main event of Evolution, Sasha vs Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title, and that card is slowly coming together. '59. Keith Lee wrestles Dolph Ziggler in 11 minutes and 10 seconds and beats him with a BBC. Paul Heyman is on commentary scouting his client's next opponent for Super Showdown. Keith Lee gets a 60 and a 46 for Dolph Ziggler. And a 59 for the match is actually not too bad here in India. '58. Corbin and Tucker having an interview with Kayla Braxton. And they say, Corbin says he's over the moon. Because instead of having to face, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, or Rey Mysterio, he has to face Angel Garza. That's when Kayla interrupts. She's like, you seem to be taking Garza lightly, Corbin, but he's actually one hell of a competitor. He managed to beat Braun Strowman last week, and he won that fatal four-way, but she didn't pin Roman Reigns or Rey Mysterio, but he still won it, so he's obviously a hell of a competitor and a true threat to your title. so you shouldn't take him this lightly. And then Corbin laughs. He's like, oh, I see what this is. It's because last week he came up to you and he showed little Kayla the first attention that she's ever been shown by any kind of wrestler here on SmackDown when he gave you that rose. But it's okay, because tonight, me and my new knight, Tucker Knight, are going to snuff out your little boyfriend, as well as that pest, Daniel Bryan. In a tag team main event, Tucker and Corbin versus Garza and Daniel Bryan. In a 56, why is Roman getting 56 with Riddick Moss? Roman defeats Riddick Moss in 5:39 with a spear, 73 for Roman, and a 27 for Riddick Moss. But after the match is the most important segment. Roman is celebrating when the Firefly Funhouse pops up on the Titantron. And Bray says this thing between him and Roman will come to an end at Super Showdown. And that he doesn't want to just beat Roman. He wants Roman to burn in hell. And the lights turn out. And they come back on. And the Fiend is behind Roman. There's red light everywhere. And the ropes are all on fire. Roman sort of gets startled by the flames on the ropes, and he turns around and the Fiend puts Roman Reigns down with the mandible claw. And then he sort of looks up on the Titantron, where obviously what is now we know is a pre-recorded message from Bray. Pops back up on the Titantron, and he says that he's laughing, and he says that he will face Roman at Super Showdown in an Inferno match. Very interesting. Speaking of very interesting, this segment here is not really that. I guess the consequences of it are, but the actual segment itself is the most bland segment of all time, because this is Evolution, and we want to defend all of the women's championships in this company. So on the kickoff show, for the NXT UK Championship, it will be Kaylee Ray defending against Alia James. And on the main show, Rhea Ripley, who is the champion in this game, will defend against Tegan Nox. That is all the segment is, just announcing that these matches are happening at Evolution. Main event gets a 66 in terrible wrestling, apparently, non-existent crowd heat. King Corbin and Tucker Knight defeat Angel Garza and Daniel Bryan when Corbin pins Bryan with the End of Days, because AJ Styles, his partner, not his partner, his opponent at Super Showdown in the WWE World Cup, gets his revenge from earlier on tonight, and he takes Daniel Bryan down and lets Corbin hit him with an End of Days. Bryan has a 85, 53 for Angel Garza, Tucker a 36, 41 for Corbin. And apparently, Corbin and Tucker have excellent chemistry teaming together, which wasn't something that I previously knew. I didn't, obviously, if I would have known and tested shit, I could have seen, oh, Tucker and Corbin have the chem, so I'll try and work something out because of that. No, I just decided to put Tucker in, and it just so happens he has excellent chemistry with Corbin. I haven't changed it or anything, so that is what we call something. We will absolutely take those. 59. They don't think that WWE has any interesting storylines going on because India has killed them all. Golly gee, isn't that good? But what matters more than whether the game thinks I've got any interesting storylines going on is whether you do. So do let me know what you think in the comments below. And we'll now see you on the other side for the quarterfinals of the Mae Young Classic. Quarterfinals of the Mae Young Classic. The first one is Melissa versus Ava Valkyrie. We get the segment going over each of their careers and their two victories so far, but only one of these women will advance to the semi-finals. And that one is Melissa, who wins in 10:40 with an air raid crash. Ava Valkyrie gets a 27 and a 33 for Melissa. I keep pressing this button, but it's never picking it up. We then get the hype segment for two veteran women's wrestlers going at it in the quarterfinals for one of them to get a spot in the semi-finals. Will that woman be Rain, or will it be Katie Lee? And in 9 minutes and 53 seconds, Katie Lee defeated Rain by pinfall. She gets a 28, Rain gets a 27, and she will advance to the semi-finals of the Mae Young Classic
to face the winner of this match, Kylie Ray and Sari. Two absolute queens, but only one of them can get to the semi-finals. And that one is Kylie Ray. Kylie Ray. Kylie Ray defeats Sari in 9:48 with a super kick. 28 for Kylie Ray, 32 for Sari. So it'll be Kylie Ray versus Kaylee. And then Melissa versus either Jordynne Grace or Lufisto. Which, in 12 minutes and 4 seconds, Jordynne Grace defeated Lufisto in 12:04 by pinfall with a fall from Grace. Lufisto gets a 28, and Jordynne Grace gets a 31. And that concludes the quarterfinals of the Mae Young Classic. There is one more show to go that will see the two semi-finals and probably some other women's matches I'll put on there to pad it out. It does have to be an hour long, and we're going to need more than 2 matches. But that is the end of the Mae Young Classic and the end of SmackDown. And I'll see you next time for episode 67, which will be the go-home show for Monday Night Raw for the 2 pay-per-views next weekend. See you then.